We're going to take a look at working with some values in Highland.js. Highland's a high-level stream library for Node in the browser. It gives you a nice streaming, evented interface to work with your values. I find it really convenient, so let's just get started with that. So I've got an app running on the right. Here's the code for it here. We're just logging out the fact that we're starting. And then we've instantiated some custom logger things just for pretty colors. And we've required Highland. We're going to call it H here. So typically we're going to work with values in this instance, which resemble streams, events, and so on and so forth. So we're going to say we got an array. That's going to be our data set. We got 3, 4, 5, etc. These are our values. Nothing much happening here. But we're going to say, okay, Highland, take these values and turn them into a stream. Again, we're seeing nothing happening here. So let's take a look at what we are actually getting back here. You can see from the log message we're getting a stream back. So what it's going to have is a bunch of it's got like constructor properties. It's got a bunch of methods, things that we can call on it, but on its own it really doesn't do too much. So that's not going to be of much use to us. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to do what's called consuming it. So there are a number of ways to do that, but right now we're going to take a look at a two-pronged way here. So what we want to do is log each time we get a value. So we'll say val. So now you're seeing each time we get a value come down the stream, conceptually at least. And so in this case, it's each value from the array. We're going to log it. And then the next thing we want to do is say, when we're done, we're just going to say stopping. So we say starting each one of our log values and then stopping. So now that we can see our values, what are we going to do to the values? By themselves, if we just leave them the same, then what's the point, right? So on that stream, we're going to call the map function. So this is just like an array. We're going to say val plus 1. So now what we're going to see is 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 come down the line. So we got starting 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that's like pretty much the simplest thing you can do. If we want to get a little more complicated, we can say, okay, every time we get a value, we want to expand this stream. We want to convert that single value into an array of values. So let's say we'll do val. So now what we're getting down is an array of 3 instances of that raw value. So we get an array 1, 1, 1, an array 2, 2, 2, an array 3, 3, 3. That's great, I guess, but maybe it would be more useful if what we actually do is create more values from that. So we say we're going to do a flat map. It's kind of like chain or bind. You might see some places, but so in this case, what we do is what we're getting back is that each value from each array that we're creating is now being pushed down the stream as its own unique value. And flat map is similar to map and another method that's on each one of these stream objects called sequence. Basically, what you get back is from map is an array, or it's forgiving if you give it back. Or I'm sorry, what you're going to get back from map is going to be either a raw value or a stream or an array of values. And if you call sequence on that resulting value, and it's either a stream or an array of values, it's just going to say, okay, I know what to do with this. I'm going to take each one of these values, pop it off, and send it further down the line. So again, we get rid of that sequence and we get those arrays back. So this is really what you're going to be using for asynchronous code.